Welcome to the Once Upon an Island podcast, number 2 on the charts, number 1 in your hearts. I am your host, Wesley, and of course, I am joined by my lovely co-host,
Mary.
And today we're talking about Survivor 47, the Final Four, finale part 1, part 2, doesn't matter. This is our last winner analysis of the season, Mary.
True.
And I gotta say, for most people, it's a done deal on who's gonna win. For some people, they may be like, why am I even tuning in for this? I already know who's gonna win. Do they though? Do they? I kept my rankings top secret while talking with Rebecca on our podcast yesterday, Mary. I know you have your own rankings. We're going to talk through all 4 players today in alphabetical order. Of course, we're going to talk through who they need to sit next to win, what is their path to the end and chances of winning, and what jurors might vote for them. Because I think we have a pretty good idea. And I think everyone here has at least one juror who will vote for them.
Yes, that's true.
I believe that everyone has a shot. I don't think we're going to have anybody getting skunked at Final Tribal. I could be wrong. But I don't think we're going to have anybody getting 0 votes. So it's not as a runaway as we might think. Mary's giving me a face. We're going to talk about it. For those wondering, the chart in the top right-hand corner of the video here on YouTube is the confessional counter showing you how many times people talk to the camera. We will probably reference that, though it is not as important now here going to finale part 2 of Survivor 47. And a couple other things. I was on Let's Get Tribal with Carson and Carolyn over on their podcast. It is at the moment number 2 on their charts as well. Let's make it number 1. Go over there, tune in. Let's get that to their number 1 video on their channel. Let's beat Russell Hantz. He has the number 1 on their channel right now. Mary, what did you think about finale part 1? How did you feel about it overall?
I thought it was a really good episode. I wasn't quite sure. So on our fantasy league, I did put votes on Genevieve, Sam, and Andy. So nice. Thankfully, I got a few points there. And I was correct because, just assuming that those are the people going home. But I was still like Rachel playing her idol and keeping it a secret and managing to get Andy out. And I was kind of surprised she went for Andy. I was thinking Sam probably is the smarter move. But I think she is recognizing Andy's gameplay. And I think she was a little bit afraid that he could explain himself really well to the jury. So
because she was being convinced in the moment.
She was being convinced. So yeah, she went ahead and took Andy out because he has been making some good moves. Anyway, so I wasn't really sure which one she was gonna go for. And so I was surprised by that. And then and her using her idol correctly and the reaction of the jury, it was just honestly a really good episode, in my opinion. Even though I knew pretty much what was going to happen, it was still a good episode. Genevieve and Rachel bonding right at the end with their little walk in the woods. I thought that was kind of nice, even though we get this moment where the remaining 3 are just like, oh, Genevieve and Rachel, I can't believe they're bonding right now. But
I can't believe they think that they're guaranteed to win this game right now.
Right. But And Rachel's acting skills on the beach, overall.
Well, that's a Rachel specific stuff.
Yes. Yeah. Overall, I felt like it was an entertaining episode.
I can't believe Genevieve almost got away with her idol, fake idol.
Right.
She almost double bluffed her way into an idol being real.
That was interesting too. So yeah, overall, just a really good, interesting episode. Entertaining.
Yeah. We don't want to waste too much time on the preamble because some of the stuff we're going to talk about is related to the episode that just happened. But really, we're here to get down to business, Mary. I want to keep this as compact and tight as possible. We'll limit our running gags, limit our jokes, limit our going off script. Not that you and I do that as much as Rebecca and I, but I just want to let everybody know we're here to get down to business and let's be serious. This is our last week doing this.
Let's get down to business.
Let's get physical.
Nope, wrong song.
That's where you're going. She is my wife, so sometimes. All right. Let's start with our first player, Mary.
Rachel is our first player. She had 16 confessionals this week. I mean, it was a 2-hour episode, so I guess that's fair. She has a total of 78 confessionals. She doesn't have her idol anymore or her advantage. She used both of those in this week's episode.
Bro, I almost was like, what about Andy? And because it's been Andy first every week. And no, Andy's gone. We jumped straight from nothing to R. Wow. All right. So Rachel's first. Hell, holy cow. Now this is, I think most people are saying Rachel's the obvious winner. Let's talk about this. Rachel's path to the end right now seems pretty clear. Rachel wins immunity, by the way, that'd be the 4th immunity if she does. And not like Kyle, where it was kind of like with an asterisk. It'd be a straight, actual, real 4 immunities, no questions asked. That'd be amazing. Rachel wins immunity. I think she wins the game. Rachel gets put in fire. I'm not saying Rachel's a runaway. There was some foreshadowing in the last episode where T's like, I think I lose to Rachel in fire. But there have been many times over the course of Survivor where people have foreshadowed a fire making competition that never happened, or it's not the matchup that happens, or like they foreshadow that and like Rachel's like, well, I'm not going to put myself in fire. You know, like things have not always gone the way it's been foreshadowed to be. So that did seem a little bit of foreshadowing. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. In my opinion, if Rachel, well, obviously she loses in fire, she loses. I think Rachel is the big target on the board. Everyone should be wanting to face Rachel in fire.
I agree. No, I agree. I think that, well, first of all, the probability of her winning immunity is high because so far no one else besides Sue has won immunity.
And Sam doesn't even look, how can Sam not win any?
Yeah. Sam has never won one, but we've seen in past seasons where somebody who's never won a challenge at all the whole entire time wins it at this point in the game and then goes on to win. So Rachel needs to win immunity. I think she really does. She probably does still need to beat Sam in fire because that would just be the icing on the cake. And then she wins, no questions.
With the jury we currently have, who do you think from the current jury, not knowing who the last member is essentially a lock for Rachel? Let's say all four of them are in the final three. I know it's impossible. Who do you think is essentially a lock for Rachel to vote, to be voted, to get a vote from?
I think so. As far as just a straight lock,
not a straight lock, but like you're like leaning heavily towards this person will vote Rachel over anyone else who's in this final four.
I'm leaning towards Saul, maybe Gabe, and possibly Andy. Because
you think Gabe would vote for Rachel over
Sam,
over Sue. I mean,
yeah, all four of them are the yeah.
Because Gabe and Sue were kind of close in the beginning of the game.
They were close, but Gabe openly admitted several times that Sue was just his goat. Basically, like he said, I need somebody who's loyal and not going to ask questions. Like, I don't think he's going to respect Sue's game since he was the one, he knew she was a pawn that he was taking. So yeah, he respects her. He likes her. I don't think he would vote for her.
Okay. And then you said the first one was Saul. Why do you think Saul votes Rachel?
Saul saved Rachel that one time. And I feel I feel like they just had a good relationship. And I don't know if I don't think Saul would vote for Teenie. No. I
don't think Teeny's garnered the respect.
Right. And so I feel like he had more of a relationship with Rachel than he did with Sam or with Sue. So that's why I'm saying that.
Andy. I think Andy makes sense.
I think Andy voting for Rachel too. He could vote for Sam, but he and Sam have been kind of at odds this whole game. And well, so have he and Rachel, but he admits before he goes out that he just really respects Rachel. He thinks she's a great player. He thinks she'll win. Yeah. Yada, yada, yada. So I think he would also appreciate how honest Rachel's been with him. Like this whole game, Rachel's never really been like backstabbed Andy in any way, besides voting him out.
Well, also earlier in the season, they had they spent time in the beginning of, I forget which episode it was, like 3 minutes, I felt like, of the episode, just focusing on Andy and Rachel's relationship up to that point, like giving us like a recap of their relationship and not in a way where it was like Teenie having flashbacks and going, I need to get rid of Genevieve because she's been screwing me all game. Like we got in this past episode. It was more of like, here's how they are now working together and being, even though Andy kept screwing over Rachel, it wasn't cut together where it's like these two are mortal enemies.
Right. I feel like Andy respects Rachel's game a lot. And even when Rachel backstabbed him, she immediately gives him a hug and says, you convinced me. Like you were so good today. The reason you're gone is
because you talked to me.
So I feel like he would vote for Rachel as well.
Right. I think you are making good points on those three. I think those are three. If they vote for Rachel, I wouldn't be surprised. You know, this is not a Maria voting for Kenzie situation and with any of those three people. And I think you make a good point. Rachel, in my opinion, wins against any combination of the other three in the final three. Rachel is our clear front runner. People are not wrong when they say that. I've been saying all season. Now, there are some conspiracy theories we got to bring up. I'm just not going to hammer them over and over. We've talked about it since week 2, week 3, that there is a woman holding a torch in front of the 47 logo in the theme song. If Rachel wins, there you go. It didn't tell you exactly who's going to win. Like there's nothing specific Rachel in the theme song like there was for Kenzie, like there was for Dee. Like specific that it's that person, but it did narrow us down to the gender of the winner, the sex of the winner, however you want to look at it. So if Rachel wins, that does line up with that. Also, I'm not sure where the 47 logo and fire and then Sam and then the woman being, maybe let's say Rachel wins, Rachel beats Sam in fire. That could be that. Or Rachel beats Sam. I mean, I don't know. I feel like the 47 logo and fire is like, okay, does Rachel beat Sam in fire? I don't know. I'm just trying to line up like why is the 47 logo then Sam then a woman in front of the torch? Thoughts?
Right. My thoughts with that, it could be Sam beats Rachel in fire.
That's his path on winning. If he wins, that's what has to happen. Right. Yeah.
But
we haven't gotten him yet.
But yeah, we haven't got to him yet. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, that's well, anyways, Rachel right now, I feel like is our clear front runner on winning. Literally everybody needs to knock out Rachel in fire and make sure she doesn't win an individual immunity. But at the moment, who's really competing with her? When Kyle left, it kind of became Rachel as our front runner to win immunities as well.
Yes.
Imagine if Kyle hadn't been here at all in the post-merge. Could Rachel basically have not clean sweeped, but had like 6 immunity wins? I don't know. I think she gets targeted much sooner if she did.
Right.
She probably should be thankful Kyle was there to take target off her back.
Yes, she definitely should have been.
She was, and Genevieve winning that one immunity was like, yeah, but if Genevieve wasn't there, Rachel is always like second. She's right there. She's so close.
Very close the whole time. Nobody else has ever been that close in challenges. So, yeah, we'll see. I think her
in
little
this season. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Especially post merge. Anyway, so in this episode, some of the things I wrote down is, again, just good points for Rachel. When Andy, Teeny, Sam, and Genevieve go off to the beach, Rachel sneaks off after them. And not only does Rachel sneak off after them, the screen goes black for like a good 3 seconds.
She explains how dark it is.
Right. So you're seeing it as Rachel's seeing it.
Yeah.
You get Rachel's point of view about
Basically, yeah. Though, to be fair, our eyes still let in more light than the camera does when it goes to that.
Sure.
So that is just an editing effect. She was not literally walking in actual pitch black, but it was, I'm sure that the moonlight is not enough to like see clearly,
right.
like we're seeing with the camera, she's saying.
Well, and also like all I'm bringing that up is they didn't have to do that. They didn't have to do 3 seconds of blackness, but everything tends to be from Rachel's perspective. She knows she's got the idol. She's going to win. So we hear her talking about, well, it's up to me and Sue who we want to go home.
Acting job on her part.
Oh man, her on the beach. Like I do feel like she had genuine emotions to pull from. Like she genuinely does love these guys, is thankful for how they've gone, is probably thinking, man, I really wish I would have won today. But yeah, still really good acting on the beach. So smart. Like the whole jury basically clapping for her when she made her move. Like they didn't, but they might as well with the reactions that they were giving. Her hugging Andy at the end, her being so strategic about every move she's making.
That tribal council perfectly.
She did.
By the way, when she played her idol, she played it perfectly. She acted on the beach. She acted at tribal. There was like, I had almost 0 notes for, like, I don't have zit notes. Like I can't see her and be like, I have notes. I really don't have any notes on be like, here's what she could have done better. Whereas like Genevieve with her fake idol and Sam, we talked about it last week. There's some holes in the plan. I'm surprised they didn't get discovered. Frankly, there wasn't enough time for everybody to really think about the fake idol. However, Rachel basically played this I'm on the bottom, I'm going home flawlessly. And Jeff even helped out by being like, Rachel, if your journey ends here, that he does. And by the way, Carolyn from 44 said that Jeff does that. And she told him, don't do that to me, Jeff. Stop it. And Jeff's like, what are you talking about? She's like, you only do this to people that are about to be voted off the game. He's like, and Jeff apparently got really mad. This is not left in the show. Jeff got really mad that people think this, but it's like, what is Jeff doing here?
That's what we're shown. Yeah. Right. I'm sure he does ask this more often than that person.
Well, clearly, because he asked Carolyn and Carolyn never went.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So, but yeah, overall, it's like a perfect episode for Rachel. Again, we're just shown she's the winner. And if she doesn't win,
it'd be very disappointing.
Well, I don't know. I feel like if she doesn't win, it would only be because Sam toppled her, and then Sam would be worthy because he toppled the perfect player.
Kind of like Chris Underwood knocking off Rick Devens. Like, right. If Rick Devens is there, no one else is winning.
Or Gabler knocking out Jesse and Fire.
Right. Right.
Maybe not to the extent
Chris
of Gabler.
Underwood chose to knock out Rick Devens. Gabler got thrusted in that position by Cassidy, who wanted to sit on her hands and not do it herself. So Gabler was handed it in that way, a little different. But here, yes, if Sam were to choose to go to fire against Rachel, like he wins immunity and then chooses to do it, like that's a big move.
Right.
And that's a good big move.
I'm just talking about whoever takes out Rachel.
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
if that happens, then
if she goes on fire.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, just editing, her gameplay is really good. Her social skills are really good. I think that everyone really likes her on the jury. So yeah, if she's up with Teeny and Sue, I think she gets pretty much all the votes. Maybe not Caroline's. That's about it.
I have to give you credit, Mary. You nailed the winner of the season from week 1. You had Rachel at number 1 after week 1.
Yeah, for 1 week.
I didn't even have Rachel in my top 6 after week 1. It took me until Sierra getting voted off to recognize that Rachel's the front runner. But you had Rachel number 1 week 1, and I am giving you props.
Thanks.
That's like amazing. You recognize, sure, you knocked her down, but like, what am I expecting you to have her number 1 all season? That's insane. Like you had Rachel number 1 after week 1. Big props, Mary. You the apprentice has become the master. That's all I'm saying. You are now the Jedi and I am the apprentice. That's what I'm saying. You're the Jedi master.
So Andy's a good player.
Okay, there are many things you still need to learn, young Padawan. All right, let's move on. Oh, Rachel's clearly number 1 for both of us.
Right.
Okay, who is next?
Next is Sam. He had 9 confessionals this week with a total of 83. Still the most out of everyone.
My goodness. Do you think he cracks 100 this season? 17? Well, there's only an hour and a half really of the finale left, not 2 hours.
I doubt he makes 100.
Yeah, and then half of that, like half an hour of that's probably for final tribal. So no, he can't get 17 confessionals in 60 minutes. So
That'd
probably
be insane.
Not. Yeah. All right, Sam. By the way, nobody here has a 0 confessional episode, right? Does Sue have one?
No, everyone left has never been skunked.
Okay, that's
no,
good.
sorry, Sue has been skunked.
We'll talk about that during Sue's section. Sam has never had that. Sam has been the glue guy. He's been there. He did have a huge hit taken to him when Sierra went out, and I feel like his game has kind of like he had power, and then Sierra goes, and his game has suffered as a result. Mm-hmm. But Sam, as was talked about in this last episode, is still viewed as a bigger threat than Andy. Andy actually has made moves, but he lost so much respect in the early parts of the game that he never recovered. And Sam had the respect, and he hasn't quite fully lost it yet.
I agree. I think that Sam has a great shot at winning, even if he sits next to Rachel. It's possible that he would still lose to Rachel because of everything she's done.
Place.
But he would definitely get second place. If he takes out Rachel, he wins. No doubt about it. Mm-hmm. The editing doesn't necessarily show that he's going to take out Rachel, but it's still a possibility. I wouldn't count him out. He's definitely number 2 for me.
If the theme song is to be believed, the 47 logo in fire, then him, then a woman with the torch. Maybe he knocks out. Maybe he knocks out in fire the person we assumed was going to win the season, the woman with the torch in front of the logo. That. Right.
So I think the thing about Sam is that he has lost power since Sierra, and he has struggled and scrapped and fought, and he hasn't won any challenges, but he's still here because of his social game. He is so good at acting, at telling people what they want to hear, at just playing the game. I think he's a great player. Some of his little hints for him this week, for me, was that, first of all, he was honest with Rachel. Mm-hmm. He said, this is the first time the whole game that I've been honest with somebody about who's, I'm voting for you. And I think that's going to work in his benefit, both in the jury and with Rachel herself. Right. But also he tells Teeny about the idol being fake, and he says, this could be $1 million mistake, but the idol's fake.
I think his best case scenario is he knocks out Rachel in fire. Obviously. Mm-hmm. That is his best case. His chances of winning, I think, increase greatly, if not almost a lock to win. Mm-hmm. His worst case scenario is Rachel wins immunity, puts Sam in the final 3 guaranteed, and doesn't let him make fire, and Rachel makes fire against somebody else, something like that. That would be Sam's worst case. Like Rachel puts herself in fire, knocks out Sue or Teeny. Right. Like that's worst case, because Sam then did not get any say. And this is in the eyes of the jury. I know some people don't like this, but this is how it works now. Ever since 35, you want to be in fire, in my opinion. You want to be in fire. You do not want to avoid fire. Unless you were by like clearing away the front runner to win. I think Rachel wins immunity, doesn't put herself in fire. She's fine. Mm-hmm. I don't think Rachel loses because she didn't put herself in fire. However, for everyone else, they need to be in it. And it would be hugely detrimental to Sam if Rachel wins this immunity and then puts herself and Sue, or puts like Sue and Teeny in fire, and Sam never gets a shot at doing it. Right. Sam, this is his only move. He needs to knock out Rachel on fire. Yes. He doesn't do it, he doesn't win. Right. I agree. Now, does Sam have any people on the jury that we think are locks or heavily leaning towards voting for Sam at the moment? Yes. I think Sierra for sure. For sure. And also Kyle, because he and Kyle worked together. Yeah. They worked together pretty well before Kyle's vote off. And I don't think Kyle worked with Rachel at all. So I think just as in that Kyle might be swayed because of Rachel's challenge wins. He might, I don't know. I just saying I have seen Kyle interact with Sam more than I saw him interact with Rachel at all. So that's just a possibility. But those are the only two I really, maybe Gabe. Again, it just depends on what kind of game. Does he like the underdog story that Sam has? Does he like all the moves Rachel's made? I'm not sure, but I definitely Sierra for sure, and possibly Kyle. Sierra's a lock, in my opinion. If she doesn't vote for Kyle, I'd be surprised. But then again, Mary, last night I was surprised to learn that Teeny and Rachel, they sat there and talked about before Genevieve got voted off. Teeny's like, I'm voting for Genevieve. because she doesn't have the idol. Rachel says, don't do that. Genevieve has the idol. The vote count turns out that Teenie voted for Sam.
Yeah.
And Rachel voted for Genevieve.
Yeah.
What's all that talk about?
They wanted to keep the votes split.
Right, but they didn't vote the way they said they were going to. They did the exact opposite. Both of them did. So like, I'm so confused, by the way. Look at me. Teenie,
I'm looking at you.
Teenie says Genevieve's idol is fake. I'm voting for Teenie. Voting for Genevieve. Teenie ends up voting for Sam.
Yes, because Rachel said no. Stick with the plan of splitting the votes. I think.
Okay, you're right. Maybe that's what it was. Golly. Anyways, we're talking about Sam right now. Sam got targeted a couple times, and I think that does show that Sam is a threat. Mm-hmm. However, as we said, Andy talked himself into being a bigger threat than Sam, because Sam was gone at 6. Mm-hmm. Andy didn't talk his way out of this game. What else is new for Andy? If he didn't talk his way out of this game, Sam was gone. So Sam is a threat. Mm-hmm. He's just not a bigger threat than Rachel.
Right. I agree.
That's his issue at the moment, which is wild considering how the season has gone, considering the power he held in the Gada tribe, and how he could have had Rachel go instead of Annika. He had the power to eliminate Rachel instead of Annika, and they eliminated Annika. It could have been Rachel.
True.
Like, it's always like those what ifs. Like, man, what if I had knocked out Rachel back in the pre-merge? What would have happened? You know,
be a different game for sure.
He needs to knock out Rachel with fire. Needs to come full circle and eliminate all of Gada. So, Sam for me, number 2 for you.
Number 2.
All right, let's move on. Who's next?
Next is Sue. Sue had 11 confessionals this week with a total of 50. And yes, she was skunked back in episode 7.
And her sob story, not that seems to be a requirement unless they all of a sudden give the winner one here in the finale. Mm-hmm. Sue, her sob story was a secret scene in episode 1.
Right.
So cut out of the show completely for sure. Mm-hmm. Teenie's the only one to have one, which I know we haven't gotten Teenie yet, but like, do we think Rachel or Sam or I don't think Sue. Rachel or Sam will get one here in the finale? You think they'll both get one in the finale? We got time to burn, in my opinion.
I think they might, but at the same time, we haven't really got, I mean, besides all of Sam's personal content about like the fruits he's eaten or not eaten, there hasn't been that much personal content, but it's been way more focused on the gameplay, I feel like.
Kyle had a sob story, Teenie had a sob story, and everybody else's has not been a full sob story with pictures, which is wild.
Right. So Sue, I mean, we talked about this. Sue's been the meme of this season. Her meme this week, she said she woke up not feeling great, you know, just discouraged, sad because Caroline's gone. But she says in confessional, I just have to get up and get going.
And murder Andy.
No, well, get up and stand and play this game. And it cuts to a shot of her trying to get up from the ground after sleeping all night. And she is an elderly lady. She like stumbles. She can't stand up straight.
What are you talking about?
An elderly lady. So yeah, I was just like putting that line of what she said next to a shot of her not being able to stand up straight. It's just like, again, we're not supposed to take her seriously. No. Even though the jury took her move seriously, even though she was on Rachel's side and loyal this whole time, like technically on paper, she probably still has more of a shot than Teenie. But with the edit, it's just like, oh, Sue, she's so funny.
Oh,
like,
Sue, she's so silly.
Yeah.
Sue has a guaranteed vote from Caroline, in my opinion, but who else is voting Sue come a final 3?
Caroline's the only one I could think of.
As well. Yeah. I can't think of anyone else being swayed by Sue. And she like acted like this idol play that she was going to do this week was like some big thing. And like people were just surprised that was the red paint idol. I don't think they were like, Sue, you made a move. Like she didn't make a move.
I think they were surprised that Sue kept something secret for that long.
Right. And then it was the red paint idol that they knew like, well, who has it? It can't be Sue. But it was Sue.
It was Sue.
But at the same time, that's not enough to move the needle, in my opinion.
No.
Though Caroline definitely was like using language, but it was like, heck yeah. That's when Sue did it. So Caroline's like, so she's voting Sue.
Right. I agree.
Sue's in final 3, which I don't see why she wouldn't be. Unless she loses in fire, I guess. Like, I don't know who's putting Sue in fire.
No.
At the moment, I don't think Sue or Teenie should go in fire. I mean, Rachel wins. She could, as I said, she could throw Sue and Teenie in fire and then let the chips fall where they may. Mm-hmm. But yeah, is Sue gonna win? No. Sue is number 4 for myself. What about for you?
And me, yes.
If Sue wins, we got Gablerd again. Is it going to be hilarious?
Not even Gablerd.
Is it going to be hilarious? Maybe we'll find out next week. I'm saying like if Sue wins, like should I laugh? Should I cry? Like when Gablerd won, I laughed so hard.
Yes.
I fell off my seat laughing. Mm-hmm. Mary was there to witness this event. And I never do that. I laugh at things, but I never fall out of my seat laughing. I fall out of my seat laughing watching Gabler win. If Sue wins, am I going to fall out of my seat laughing? Yeah, I don't know. There was just so much arrogance from Cassidy that it made it funny when Gabler won. Mm-hmm. There's not a huge air of arrogance with Sam, Rachel, or Teenie. So Sue winning wouldn't be like,
yeah, it wouldn't be right. Yeah, there's that Gabler winning was like a setup to a joke, and then the joke paid off. The joke
is that Cassidy thought she had this in the bag.
Yeah, this was not.
There's no joke here.
No,
except Sue is the joke.
Yes.
In the edit, in the story. So.
Sue is the joke, and she's not gonna win.
So sorry, Sue. I just don't see any path. I think Sue gets a vote from Caroline, and that could be enough to net second place if the vote is 7-1-0. Mm-hmm. But that's about as good as it gets for Sue as second place. All right.
Right.
Who's our last player?
Our last player is Teenie.
You know, I think this is the week that Teenie's finally going to turn it around and do something, Mary.
Oh, yeah. She showed everyone all of her amazing skills of finding out information.
And telling the jury that she sucks.
Telling everyone. And then, yes, telling the jury that she's completely baffled and confused and doesn't know what's going on.
She Fabio'd the situation. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. If she wins... Like, I can't even wrap my mind. I can wrap my mind around Sue winning. I can't wrap my mind around Teenie
wins. Talk about the most baffling story I've ever seen on Survivor. So much focus and like no explanation.
No.
For why. We got a lot of what, but why? I don't know. Teenie at the moment, does she have any locked votes? Any votes where you're like, this person for sure is voting Teenie?
I have no locked votes.
Even let's say Rachel, Sue, or Sam joins the jury, right? Did any of them vote for Teenie?
No.
Their best bet right now is Genevieve. Maybe.
No.
No, if Rachel's not in Final 3, Genevieve, maybe. If Rachel's not in Final 3, Genevieve, maybe. That's my proposition on the only vote I think Sue has.
I think Genevieve votes Sam.
Probably.
I can see Sam. Or actually, I think Rachel. I think Rachel because they had their whole Rachel and Genevieve frenemy thing.
Right.
But no, I don't think she puts her teeny at all. She can't.
I'm saying Rachel's
on
the jury with Genevieve. They're both on the jury.
Yeah, I know. I don't think Genevieve can.
Still.
No, I think she would vote for Sam over.
Oh, man, that's rough.
I mean, if it was just Teenie and Sue.
Yeah, if it's a final two.
Then yes. There you go. That's how she gets it.
Surprise final two. There's a secret day 27. That would, by the way, would be an awesome twist that they should do one time. A secret day 27. And they don't, Jeff keeps it vague. We have fire making competition and everybody's like, yeah, I'm good for final tribal council. And Jeff's like, I'll see you tomorrow at the immunity challenge. And they're like, what?
No, he made it very clear in this week's episode. You cannot be voted out.
I'm saying in a future season.
No, that would be funny.
Twist, like a one-time, like surprise day 27. Everybody thinks that they're good after fire making. Jeff goes, I'll see you tomorrow at the immunity challenge. And they're like, what? That's what we're looking for. That's the better way, in my opinion, of doing a finale part 1 and 2.
Sure.
Is the finale part 2 has the fire making and then immunity and then another vote off and then final 2 tribal council. That would be a good way of doing parts 1 and 2.
Sure.
Just a proposition.
Fire making.
I never would have come up with a 2-part finale in the first place without planning this out because I think next week's episode is going to be slower paced than this week, but what do I know? Teenie's, I just don't think Teenie has a shot. Like Sue, it's like, what, even if Teenie beats Rachel on fire, cool. It's like Andy doing Operation Italy. Cool.
Yeah.
There's the jury care.
It's too late for anything.
It's too late.
Like you said, even if she beat Rachel.
This is the week, Mary. Teenie's going to make a move. Now, all season, I've pointed out the height of T's name, and I said this means Teenie has to end up in 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, and maybe 5th. I said, because I didn't know the finale was going to be 2 parts. Mm-hmm. I said Teenie has to make finale with the height of her name. Do you, Mary, after seeing this 3 seasons in a row, that the height of the name shows the placement of the player, admit that there is a pattern and that if it happens again, that you should take it seriously?
I think there's a pattern. I think if it happens again, then they're messing with you.
No, I'm saying that in 48, somebody's height of their name is different and it indicates a position that they should be finishing in. Will you agree with me from the beginning and not have to wait for it to happen?
No.
Are you freaking crazy? Hunter and Teenie.
Yeah, I know.
3 in a row.
I know, 3 in a row. So now
that is a pattern.
I know it's a pattern. So now they're going to change it up.
No.
Or they should.
48 will be exactly the same because it was produced back to back. Okay. If they're going to change it, it's going to be changed in 49.
Sure. If it happens again in 48, I'll accept it.
Right. Like we watch 48 and somebody's name is like high up, but it's not quite as high as it should be. And we figure out, okay, this means they should be around. Okay, but if don't get me wrong, ideally everybody's name, like half of everybody's name is high, half of everybody's name is low.
Mhm.
Something new happens. I'm with you. Like I don't want to be repeating either, but this is a pattern. Teeny finished in the top 4 at worst at the moment. The height of her name indicates she could not be first, but she was darn close to it.
Mhm.
That's what that meant. I talked about it. People are tired of me talking about it. I'm like, yeah, but this tells you everything about Teeny.
It's true.
She had a match hat though. She had a sob story. She had everything traditionally that we were looking for. Just
except
for Teeny.
good gameplay.
Mary, how dare you?
It's true.
That was a good one. I don't think I can ever top that. So yeah, we had a shorter podcast this week, but frankly, we're here to talk about 4 different players, and it seems like a lock that's one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
It is either. This is the downfall of there being a 2-part finale, in my opinion, is that we've reached finale part 2, and like kind of has to be just one of these two, right?
Yeah.
And it's not like Kenzie and Charlie where it could be like one. It really could have been one or the other. This season, it's like, well, it has to be one, and if it's not them, then it's the other.
Right.
Kenzie Charlie was like, it's either Kenzie or Charlie, and I don't know which one for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So
agreed.
Yeah, Teeny for me is ranked number 3. I don't know if I actually said that out loud.
Same.
All
Number
right.
3.
Next week, Rebecca and I will be doing the finale part 2 breakdown podcast. And then Mary, myself, and Rebecca will finally join forces and rank every new era season from 41 through 47. And our rankings do not agree with each other, with the exception of one season. We all agreed on one season, but the rest of them we did not agree. So we had to aggregate our rankings and clean them up. So anyways, if you want to listen to that right now, that will be on Patreon here in the next couple of days. But if you want to wait till next week on YouTube, it'll be next week on YouTube, but it'll be on Patreon for the next few days. All right. Well, we thank you all for listening, and we'll see you all next time.
Bye.